With me is Joseph Schubert, entomologist at Museums Victoria, and he has been looking for peacock spiders and, what ho, he found some, collected 7 new species. He joins me. Hello, Joseph.
Hi Louise, how are you going?
I'm well. Tell me about your first time that you found a peacock spider.
Oh boy, it was back in 2016, so not too long ago. I had seen some photos of them online, and these beautiful sparkly little spiders, and being quite interested in spiders, I decided to go look for one. So I headed up to a reserve that was only about half an hour from my house or so, and lo and behold, I actually found one on the first go. I've been hooked ever since.
They're quite small, aren't they?
Yeah, they range from about 2.5 to 6 or so millimetres in size, most of them around the 4 or 5 millimetre mark, so not too much bigger than a grain of rice.
Okay, because I've seen the pictures online and they truly are beautiful. When you see one from a distance, even from sort of looking down at the ground, can you see then that it's colourful and pretty?
Yeah, in the sunlight you definitely can. Sometimes you have to do a bit of a double take to be sure that you've actually got a peacock spider, but yeah, you often can see the colours from quite a distance.
And it's only the men, is that right? Only the males?
It is unfortunately only the males that are the colourful ones, and only when they're adults as well.
Oh, okay. So they're all just a uniform sort of spider colour when they're born.
Yeah, they're like a browny grey sort of colour, just like the adult females are when they're born. And spiders, when they grow, go through a process called molting, which is where they shed their skin. And each time they shed their skin, they grow a little bit bigger. And when they reach the final molt, their peacock spider colours come through, and this is when they reach sexual maturity as well.
What are the colours? What are they? Are they hair filaments? What is it that makes the colours, and how are they so colourful?
So they're scales, and it's actually structural colour. So it's very much like the scale of a butterfly that reflects light.
Now, I understand there's a limited window, is there, if you're going to go searching for them, and boy, did you take a journey to search for them. Why is that a limited window?
So they tend to mate in spring, like a lot of animals. And because they have to be mature to mate, this is when they're colourful and when we can distinguish males from each other, because their brilliant patterns are actually how we tell them apart. So if you want to go looking for them, you have to really look in spring to find them. Otherwise, you'll just be looking at a bunch of brown jumping spiders that look very similar to each other.
And do they dance? Do they flaunt? Is it that kind of display that other creatures do to mate?
Yeah, so when a male peacock spider wants a female's attention, he'll raise his third pair of legs. And when the female locks focus onto him, he'll raise his abdomen and wave it side to side and kind of do a little dance.
How amazing. And they're native to Australia, are they? Are they found elsewhere in the world?
Yeah, they're only known from Australia, actually. So we're very, very lucky to have them here.
When it comes to the different species, do they tend to have distinct geographical locations, or are they mixed among each other? How does that kind of work?
In some cases, species can be quite widespread and occur pretty much all along Australia, but in other cases we have species that are called endemic species. And these are species that are only known from very, very narrow ranges. So I think almost all of the species in this paper, except for one that I described, 6 of the 7 species are only known from a single location, which is very, very amazing. But it's also quite scary considering that we've had increasing severity in bushfires over the past couple of years.
What kind of landscape do they like?
It really depends on the species, but they tend to live quite close to the ground. Some species live on coastal succulent plants. Others live in dry bushland and hop around in the leaf litter. And one of them was actually found on a salt lake, which is an incredibly weird habitat for this group.
And the colours, I mean, they are astonishing, aren't they? And it just seems to be online, seems to be such a great place, I guess, for us non-experts to enjoy them, because they're just unimaginably beautiful in a way. You wouldn't believe that was a real spider, would you?
Yeah, and I think that's part of what got me into it. It's a really great thing that so many people are drawn to these spiders because of their colours, because we have so many people taking photos of them and posting really, really important information online.
Well, citizen scientists, isn't it? And over the last few years with the internet, that's just become such a huge help to many fields of science, I think, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Websites like iNaturalist have really revolutionised things. And yeah, it's a really great thing that everybody can get involved.
Now, none in Tasmania. Are we not warm enough, dry enough, arid enough?
Actually, Tasmania does have a few peacock spider species. And there's an undescribed species, an unnamed species from Tasmania that I've been trying to get my hands on specimens of. So I plan on doing a trip to Tasmania in the near future.
What part of the Tasmania? Would it be something like up in the Highlands, with the Peaty Highlands or something like that?
Yeah, it is a highland species.
Okay, that'd be interesting. Look, enjoy it. And you want to get out there again, as you say, you want to try and find that one in Tasmania. So there's more work in this and more study and research for you going ahead, isn't there, Joseph?
Yeah, there's plenty of work to be done. So in Australia, we have about 3,500 species of spiders that are described, but we estimate that there are actually 10,000 species that exist here. So there's a lifetime of work left to do.
Well, I hope you enjoyed doing it, and thanks so much for talking to me about it tonight.
No worries. Thank you for having me on.